Hey guys, I'm Tim Langston with Red Dog Bushcraft, and today we're going to continue our knife testing with the Genesis PSB 27 by LT Wright Knives, only available at Smoky Mountain Knife Shop. So I was lucky enough to pick this knife up while I was there, and you can look on LT's website for the specs on his Genesis, and this one is the same as theirs. I would say this is 5/32 of an inch thick, so just a little bit thicker than your typical Genesis. But just as a quick review, it's coming in at about 5 inches long in the scales, 4 1/4 on the cutting edge or the blade itself, thumb scallops or finger scallops on each side, 3 pins, lanyard hole, nice broomstick style handle. Like I said, pretty much typical of their Genesis. Good sharp 90-degree spine. We'll cover that here in just a little bit. As a matter of fact, before we start, since this has been through a couple of these tests already, I'll just show you that it does fine in the paper cut test. Now let's get down here on the stump so we can get some work done, and let's start talking about the grind of this knife. Now, when it comes to a Scandinavian grind, the true test to me is not how much wood it will bite off. So like if I take this stick right here and I clean that bark off with that 90-degree spine a little bit, and I start processing this down, especially when you're first starting and you've got all these little lumps and bumps, you want to be able to get in there and cut that off and really get down to the wood and get it kind of smooth. And then you want to be able to come back and get those real small, fine curls. And that's what's going to aid you when you're feathering and you're processing your wood, especially when it comes to doing crafts and doing firecraft. The grind on the knife, even if it has that secondary convex or that little bit of buffing at the end, it can really either lend itself to helping the user, or it's something that the user will have to show a lot of skill to be able to get these real small curls like this that's going to accept the spark from a ferro rod. The other thing is that 90-degree spine. Eastern woodlands, fat wood is king as far as our natural process, our natural material to process down for fire starting. And we like to do what we call make little fuzzies. And we need that knife to be able to do that well and quick. So just like that, we've got that processed. And if we can do that, we should be able to use our ferro rod to throw a good spark in there. And we can. And I can just brush that off because it's hard to believe, but earlier this morning it was snowing out here. Now my 90-degree spine has taken a little bit of a beating because I was beating the fire out of this thing with a piece of flint earlier, and we'll do it again here in just a minute. But out of the box, LT has some of the sharpest spines of any knives that I've ever purchased. They've got a process in their shop where they concentrate on that 90-degree spine. But like I said, I like to know when I go out in the woods, I can use this knife to start fire. And the way I do that is carry a little bit of char cloth with me. Just lay that down. And this is how I was doing so much damage to the back of this spine. I was sitting here for 15 minutes trying, and you can see those sparks, I hope you can anyway, coming off of that steel. But right there we go. There is a nice little ember going. So yes, we can start fire with flint and steel using our knife as a steel. Now I was also using this piece of pyrite. This is a piece of flint for a flintlock rifle. Pyrite really seemed to work well. Well, I say that. Let's try that side. Plenty of sparks. Not overly impressed with my char cloth. Oh, there it goes. Went out. We're gonna put a hurting on that 90-degree spine. That's all right. We need to, we'll send it back and give it a spa treatment. Yeah, let's try a different piece of char. Yep. There it went. Oh, went out on me. Went out on me again. I'll tear the spine up. I'm getting pieces landed on it, but not the best char in the world. But as you can see, even with substandard char, it's doing its thing. How much of that 90-degree spine is left? Can we still process up some fat wood? Man, I can really tell a difference. But the answer to the question is yes. Try it left-handed. Now this is what I was talking about as far as getting those real small curls. And Scandinavian grind, it'll either make you look really good or you'll have to work with it a lot for it to make you look good. But if that grind is right, and you can get those edges, get right on the edges of your last cut and make those onion skin like little curls, that's going to really increase your ability to start fire. Now, like I said, that spine has taken an absolute beating. Can we still start fire? I got it right there. I'll let it go out. Oh yeah. And that's what we want. And then we can get those little curls going, and we should be able to get a fire going with that with no trouble at all. All right, let's cut that off. Get that out of here. That spread out a little bit. That burning char off of there. And you know what? You can carry a knife that can do all of that. And I'm not a big fan of batoning. I believe in carrying an axe. But if I need to, I want to know that I can split me up some wood, like some of this cut-off material here. And that this knife is going to hold up to that. Let's do across the grain. All right, I see no detriment whatsoever. How we do when we go back to the paper. Oh yeah, I'm not feeling any resistance at all. There's a little bit of dirtiness right here from that pine sap. But she's still smooth as she can be. But any knife that I carry in the woods, not only does it need to process my wood, not only does it need to start my fires, but when it comes time for breakfast the next morning, I need to cut my bacon too. So how's she sliced? Look at that. Right through the grind. That's awesome. Let's go with a nice thin slice. Something like we're gonna put in some pork and beans. Come on, give me them small pieces. There we go. Oops, a little thick. That's all right. That is nice. Yes, any woods knife ought to be able to process your game, cut up your bacon, cut your vegetables, and use that fat right on that knife to clean it up, protect it, and that'll be our next story. We'll take this knife in our next test, go get some water out of the York River, and we'll soak this steel in it for a couple of days. And we'll find out how she holds up to that. We'll take it out, just rinse it off with fresh water, wipe it off, let it set for a couple of days, and find out if it rusts up. That'll tell us what our corrosion resistance is. There ain't nothing much harder than that saltwater environment around here. All right, let's get you back up here. All right, guys, thanks for joining me as I went through my normal knife testing with this new knife. That collaboration from Smoky Mountain Knife Works and LT Wright Handcrafted Knives. This is the Genesis PSB 27 in Scandinavian. This is supposed to be a kicked up D2, and it's supposed to have a lot more resistance to chipping. It's supposed to have a pretty good resistance to corrosion. So we will see after we towed it for a few weeks and use it heavy, and we continue to test this steel out and see exactly what it'll do. But so far, I'm pretty impressed with it. I think they've got the heat treat right. I believe it's somewhere around 5960. I don't think they're taking it up as high as what it could, trying to use the most flexibility out of the steel, I guess you would say. Trying to make it durable enough that it really gives you that long, durable edge, but not putting it so hard that it gets that microchipping the way your standard D2 has a reputation of doing. But thanks for joining me for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed bringing it to you. I'm Tim Langston with Red Dog Bushcraft, home of global safety and survival. Until next time, God bless.